Welcome to Southern Maryland Focus. I'm Sharon Bell, your host, and with me today is Naomi Hurley and Joyce Rum with BANA. We're going to be talking about a letter that we received from a reader. It was a letter to the editor about a grandmother whose 11-month-old baby is living out in the woods and Child Protective Services is not doing anything about it. Basically, she wrote us asking for help in this matter. She has tried calling them. They're living in a tent in the woods, and they said that's okay. You guys think that it's okay for an 11-month-old baby to be living in the woods in a tent?
Absolutely not. No.
That's
not okay.
Can we help them? All right, just a little bit.
Again, when we talked about this earlier, when the subject was first brought up, I went online and I looked, and there are cases where CPS has taken children away from families who live off the grid, who choose to do that. And these children are well cared for, they're homeschooled, they're fed, they're clothed, but because they essentially are living in shacks on homesteads, they were removed from their homes.
Without internet.
Right. So I don't understand how CPS in this area finds it okay that there's an 11-month-old living in a tent.
Right. And it's cold, it's been rainy, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, yeah. You have that baby's got to be eaten up by bugs.
I don't understand how they can think that's sufficient shelter. No, and it's getting cold outside now.
There are a lot of homeless people in our area.
Mm-hmm.
There
Absolutely.
are too many homeless people in our area. But to me, when you have a relative calling CPS, for whatever reason, I mean, now you're talking a relative, a blood relative, they need to go investigate that. Because it's one thing when an outsider calls, but now they know this is a relative. Why are they not investigating that? Why do they say that that's okay?
It just baffles me if they didn't even take the time to go out and investigate the situation.
According to the letter, Child Protective told her that a tent in the woods is considered shelter.
For how long? I mean, this isn't a weekend camping trip we're talking
about. They've been in the woods
for
for about 30 days. Yeah, 30 days.
That's just unbelievable. And think about the fact that just the safety risks that this child faces.
And in the letter that was written to the BANA, the child was in the home with the parent, the mother, and her boyfriend, who has numerous drug and abuse charges against him. There were 8 adults in the home and 1 child, which I guess was a baby. They were evicted for not paying rent, according to the letter. Again, it just seems odd to me that here you have 8 adults in a home and they can't afford to pay rent. What type of family life, is this a nurturing family life that a child should be? What kind of environment, I guess, is this baby in?
And my thought process, too, is if this mother knows that her 11-month-old baby could have a more stable, safe environment living with his grandmother, if she really cared about that child and not being selfish or petty, she would let her son live with the grandmother where he would have a stable roof over his head, he would have food. I mean, think about it, how are they cooking food? How are they keeping formula cold for this baby? I don't understand how they're doing that.
And not only that, but there's shelters, there's places like where homeless people can go, particularly women and children, where they will be provided for, they will have the amenities that they need. And I know at 11 months old, I mean, kids, that's when they really start exploring and they start getting into things. And parents are charged with child neglect if their 2-year-old escapes their house because they figure out how to open a locked door.
Right.
And it just baffles me that it would be okay for a child to be living in that situation for an extended period of time, with no end in sight. And like you said, you have a grandmother, a blood relative,
who's willing to take the baby.
Take the baby, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, not really sure what Child Protective Services is going to do with this. I think we ought to contact them and see if they will respond to us. A response would be good.
Absolutely.
What is the logic behind that? And definitely we're very interested to hear what our readers think about this subject. Thanks for joining Southern Maryland Focus. If there is anything that you would like us to research, look into, please contact focus@thebaynet.com.
Come to the 15th Annual Riverside Wine Fest at Sauderly October 7th and 8th, celebrating the very best regional wineries in the beautiful setting of 17th century Sauderly Plantation. Enjoy spectacular views as you sample the wines of nearly 20 Maryland wineries, as well as craft beers and delicious local food. Winefest is moving up to our historic core. Discover history with wine in hand in front of the 1703 Plantation House. Come to the 15th Annual Riverside Wine Fest at Sauderly October 7th and 8th.